Live. Welcome to GridironTalkZone Podcast, episode 14. As you can see, Graham is back. He finally decided to show up for the pod this week. After he hasn't been here since I think 3 weeks, but he's back now. Very busy man on the other side of the screen. But anyway, so you want to say anything? You glad to be back to the pod, Graham?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm back. Had a couple things I had to go take care of. One of them was an FFA thing, and then the other one was went on a personal vacation during our fall break from school. But I'm glad I'm back. I'll be back for this week. I won't be here next week because I'll have another FFA thing to do. But I know Nick's got a star-studded guest that I think he'll be okay.
Did you watch last week?
I didn't have time. I'm gonna watch it either tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, but anyway, next week there won't be a pod. I got some stuff going on too, so
cool.
There will not be a podcast next week.
It's our bye week.
Yeah, it's our bye week. It's the Gridiron Talk Zone bye week.
Okay.
Speaking of Gridiron Talk Zone, you can see we got our home jerseys on today. Yeah, got the black home, and I got the away jersey in the back. So
mine's in my closet, but I'll get a hanger for it.
Okay, but anyway,
I'll put it right here.
Right now, next pod.
Next pod.
Yeah, next pod. But anyway, so just our weekly pods. You've been watching, you know what we talk about. But anyway, want to start recapping week 6 NFL. It's already going into week 7. Crazy.
Gosh, it's flying by, man.
On to week 6 recap. Starting with Thursday night football, Bears, Commanders. What a game!
What a game!
Disappointing. Oh, we got to view Big Al Williams. But disappointing from the Bears standpoint. You see, as a Bears fan, it felt like we completely outplayed the Commanders. We had, I think, 3 possessions inside the 5-yard line where we were unable to put the ball in the end zone. One was a Justin Fields interception that hit a Commanders defensive lineman in the face, and then went up and got picked. But then the other 2, one we went for it on downs, and then the end of the game, we were, I think, the 5-yard line or so. Last play of the game, we got the pass completed, but inches short of the goal line. So we lost 12-7. What do you really want to take away? So Fields, he had some big errors, bad reads, bad misses overall, just plays where they would show the replay, and he had a guy wide open crossing the middle for first downs, and he would throw the ball elsewhere incomplete on some plays. But overall, that was just a few plays. Overall, I think he did solid. He ran the ball well, and I don't think he played awful. I think it was up there with the Vikings game for one of his best games of the year. I'm still not super high on Fields, though. But the Commanders, they didn't look amazing. Wentz didn't really do too much, but I guess Brian Robinson ran the ball solid. Glad he's playing good out there. But anyway, it wasn't a very entertaining game. So you have much to add?
Not really. I did actually get this prediction right, and I think you got this one wrong.
Well, and I think I was picking the Bears at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one thing that I will take away from this overall very boring game was I kind of liked the all orange by the Bears. That was pretty cool. I like the
I like the helmets a lot too.
Yeah.
But anyway, on to the next one. Falcons, 49ers. So many upsets, especially at the 12 o'clock window we got to go through. But quick comments put on the screen. But anyway, yeah. So on to the Bears. Oh, not the Bears. The Falcons game. The Falcons beat the 49ers 28-14. First off, Niners very injured defensively. I believe they had like over half of their defensive starters out. So overall, injuries probably hurt the Niners in this game. But the Falcons were just able to get it done. They've actually been playing better than I thought they would. So I know you've kind of been a little bit higher on the Falcons than me, it seems like. So what do you have to say about them?
I think Marcus Mariota, when the ball is not in his hand, the team does a lot better. When you give the ball to your, I guess your running backs. I don't even know the running back's name right now.
Cordell Patterson.
Is it Cordell Patterson's on IR?
Oh, Tyler Algier, the rookie.
Yeah, the rookie. I haven't figured out his name yet. But when you give the ball to the running backs and then you run those short little pass games, it seems like the Falcons do a lot better. That's what they did against the Saints week 1 for the first 3 quarters. They relied heavily on the run game, play action, Marcus Mariota using his legs. And the defense has surprisingly stepped up for them very well. Grady Jarrett, pretty good. You got one of the best cornerbacks in football. I know we both love A.J. Terrell. I like A.J. Terrell a lot, and I think you are very high on him as well. Overall, the Falcons they're a sneaky team. I don't think their 3-3 record proves how good they are. I think they're a little bit worse than 3-3. But I mean, right now they're winning games where they shouldn't be winning.
Yep, I know some people are starting to talk. Can the Falcons compete with the Bucks in the NFC South
No.
because of how the Bucks are looking? I don't think I'd go that far, but they're definitely looking better than I thought they would. But
Yeah.
onto a game that was, I guess, surprisingly a blowout in my opinion. Patriots blew the Browns out from the beginning to the end,
Mm-hmm.
and not a good showing for the Browns. But the Patriots, they have Bailey Zappi playing pretty well right now. The defense is playing way better than I thought it would, and we're going to talk about the quarterback a little bit later in the show, probably when we get to the game picks. But who personally do you think Bailey Zappi has proved that he's an NFL caliber quarterback?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think his confidence level is pretty high. The way he like slung the football all over Cleveland's defense. Cleveland's defense isn't no slouch. Just absolutely like torched him. There was a pass that he threw to, I want to say it was Nelson Aguilar, right over Darius Ward's head, and it was a dime. It was a perfect pass, and I was like, wow, this guy
To
can actually
talk
throw the football.
to talk about Zappi, he did complete over 70% of his passes. He had an over 80% adjusted completion percentage last week. He threw for 309 yards, so first 300-yard career game, 9.1 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and no interception. So he did have a very good game. And if you're looking at rankings overall wise, just based off PFF grade, Bailey
I think he was.
Zappi is at 13, tied 13. So he's looking pretty good early on in his young career. But we'll talk about it a little bit in a
Yeah.
little bit.
I also
About the
one more
quarterback
thing.
situation.
One more thing about the Patriots is that exactly right. That comment right
Jack,
there. That defense has been
speaking of Jack Jones, talk about what a steal he's looking from the draft. 4th round
yeah.
pick. To be honest, I only watch about I'd say roughly 100 players in the draft. I didn't get to evaluate him. And currently he is leading the league in PFF grade for cornerbacks at 90.5, which is absurd. Look at some of the other advanced stats. 50% reception percentage, pretty good. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns allowed. 2 pass batted. 39.1 passer rating when targeted. That is, I think, close to the lowest you can get. That might be the lowest you can get, somewhere around there. Actually, no, you can get lower than that, but that's pretty low. But it looks like they got a corner. But yeah, what were you going to say before you wrap up the Patriots game?
Oh, I was gonna say that the Patriots team as a whole is actually turning from a stale chip to like a salt and vinegar chip. I don't like salt and vinegar chips, but they're slowly growing on me. And I think the big part of that is Bailey Zappi at quarterback compared to Mac Jones. I think Bailey Zappi throwing the ball just looks
You're
it's a
not a
lot
Mac
better.
Jones fan. You're not.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really not.
The funny thing with Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones, they literally look identical.
They really do.
It's pretty funny. But anyway, on to the next game. Jets Packers. What an upset. A game I was not expecting. Talk about some New York football, I guess, if you want to say New Jersey football, because that's where they actually play. But New York football, Jets and Giants. Biggest weekend I can remember in the last decade for the Jets and Giants. They were both on, at least for where I live, they were on CBS and Fox at the same time, noon, playing some good teams. Packers for the Jets, Ravens for the Giants. They both, I guess you could say, surprisingly won, but the Jets get to 4-2, Giants get to 5-1. I know you picked the Giants to beat the Ravens last week, so good stuff from you there. But the Jets winning this game 27-10. I was saying the Jets do have a pass rush, and that seems to be the Packers and Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite in recent years. So I was saying maybe the Jets have a chance, but I didn't think it would be like this. And Jets made some big plays. They made some plays on special teams too, and just did enough to get a win in Lambeau Field. And the Packers are not looking good right now.
Nope. Zach Wilson looked pretty good. They didn't really fully let him take over the offense yet. They limited his mistakes. That defensive line, led by Sheldon Rankins, former Saint, has actually turned out to be really, really good. Now, this Jets team, I mean, man, they're competitive.
On to the next game, Jaguars Colts. This game was kind of back and forth. At first, it felt like for the most of the early part of the game, the Jags were going to win, but Colts were able to end up beating the Jags finally at home, 34-27. One of my favorite receivers in the draft, Alec Pierce, got the game-winning touchdown. It was a 3rd and long. Colts would have had to kick. I believe the field goal would be to win. I think the field goal would have been to win. It was a deep field goal, but they completed the 3rd and long pass to Alec Pierce, and it ended up being a touchdown down the sideline. So Clutch game from Matt Ryan. I believe he had a lot of passing yards. I'm checking right now. Matt Ryan had 389 passing yards. He threw the ball 58 times, completed 42 of them for 3 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, though, was very efficient, 20 of 22 passing, very high completion percentage. Trevor Lawrence has been playing some good ball, but Matt Ryan had the best game of the season for him, and that ultimately is what got the Colts the win because the defense didn't play all amazing. So props to Matt Ryan.
Yep.
On to the next game. Oh, you want to add anything?
Nope. Go ahead. Move
Next
on.
game, Vikings, Dolphins. I believe Skylar Thompson did start the game and got hurt very early.
He did.
And then Bridgewater came in and played for the most part. But the Vikings, I honestly am surprised the drop off of Tua to Bridgewater for the Dolphins because I thought it was kind of very close going into the year between those two. Tua, though, I think the offense looks clearly much better with Tua than Teddy. And overall, the Vikings, but talking about the Vikings, they've looked pretty impressive. This is a big road win. You're playing the Dolphins, who are still, even with Bridgewater in there, or I guess Skylar Thompson, still a pretty solid team. But the Vikings were able to get it done. What do you want to say about this game?
The Vikings right now are clear cut the best team in the NFC North. There really is no team that goes up against them right now. The Packers don't look good. Bears, per usual, are garbage. And the Lions, they just gotta but the Lions just gotta find a way to win games, man. Like all of these losses that they have, most of them are close games and they're winnable, but they just can't close out games.
Well, that's the storyline with the Lions. What I'm saying is the coach, quarterback, defense. Those are 3 key components to late game success. Lions don't have a very good coach. Lions don't have an amazing late game quarterback, and the defense is capable of giving up those clutch plays at the end for the opposing offense. And what were you saying, Woe to me or the game you're watching in the background?
You.
Okay.
I cannot believe you just said their coaching is bad. The quarterback part is understandable. Dan Campbell is not a bad coach.
Even Lions fans would tell you Dan Campbell's shouldn't be the head coach. They want him in the organization, I think, but like not the head coach.
I don't know what. I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I think Dan Campbell makes the whole year just because Sheila Ford, the owner, seems to love him so much, and the organization loves him. But I just don't see him as the franchise head coach of the Detroit Lions. I think that after this year, it's hard to see him making it past much more after this year. So, but we can talk about that at a later date. On to the next game. How did we talk about the Lions? We didn't even talk about it. Oh, because you started talking about the NFC North teams. On to the Bengals Saints. This was a pretty close game. 30-26. Saints had a chance to drive at the end for a touchdown, but it's still a pretty close game. I picked the Saints to upset the Bengals, but overall, what did you think of this game being a Saints fan?
I was actually pretty impressed. I was impressed and disappointed. Andy Dalton looks really, really efficient. He looks actually like a starting quarterback for us, and I'm pretty happy about that. I need to see more utilization of Taysom Hill. So what I have noticed is when Michael Thomas is out and Jarvis Landry is out, and you need your best weapon, you need to start using him. And Taysom Hill is not being used enough. He needs to be more in that wildcat quarterback and a couple more screen passes. I want to see him be utilized in more different ways because we need to reconfuse different opponents' defenses. But that's just me, and everyone knows like I'm a Taysom Hill like fanboy. Love myself some Taysom. And the defense is what's scaring me right now, and of course the injuries. We are injury riddled, but I think overall I was pretty impressed with the fact that we kept up with the Bengals with their offense.
On to the next game. Big upset, Ravens-Giants. This game was in New York, but it just seemed like the Giants were going to lose. Coming off a big London win versus Green Bay, young team. But they're showing that the coaching really is as strong as a lot of people thought it would be going into the year. I know a lot of people high on Dable, and then they hired Don Martindale to be the defensive coordinator. But maybe even outperformed expectations coaching-wise. Because this roster, I mean, you have a good pass rush, but your linebackers and your secondary on paper don't look too good. And the offensive line is still young, but Andrew Thomas is playing very good. Receivers, though, Kenny Galladay's been disappointing, hasn't really played too much. And Kadarius Toney's been banged up, and they haven't really played him too much either. So this receiving core is very disappointing. the back end of your defense doesn't look good on paper at all, and this team is still somehow 5-1. And your quarterback's he's solid, but he's not like amazing or anything. But they've been getting it done somehow because this defense is outperforming expectations.
And you have the best running back in football.
Martindale has helped them a lot. Saquon's playing like one of the best, if not the best, running back in football. Daniel Jones has played some of the best football of his young career, and they're very well coached by Brian Dable and Andy Martindale. So that's ultimately, I guess, helping them be 5-1. But this is surprising
we'll see
to
how
me.
long it lasts.
Are you surprising? Well, let's actually talk a little bit more about the Ravens game. So what I noticed is the Ravens just had the turnovers at the end, really, because it seemed like the Ravens won control most of the game. Lamar throws that late game pick.
Just took advantage.
I believe it was Julian Love who got the pick, and then the Giants got a touchdown, and then ultimately the Ravens had a chance to score a touchdown at the end and win, but Lamar got strip sacked, I believe. So they ended up losing. Ended up losing 24-20. But anything you want to add to these games or these teams or anything?
No, I kind of agree what you say about the Giants. You almost hit the nail on the head. The team isn't necessarily the most talented in the league, but they are getting coached really well right now. And it's kind of refreshing to see the Jets and the Giants both be kind of good, because I don't think in our lifetimes we've ever seen the Jets and Giants be good together, or really either of them be good.
Last time I think they were both good was the 2010-11 era, which I started watching football like seriously like 2012-ish. So yeah. But moving on, Buccaneers Steelers, talk about an upset. Who saw this coming?
Jeez.
I remember last week on the podcast, we barely even talked about this game. We got to Bucs Steelers. I was like, okay, Bucs Steelers, blowout, move on. But
the Bucs
I don't know.
Look good.
I don't know how the Steelers won this game. Well, I do know. They have Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky came in the game, second half, did his thing, got the Steelers the win, and that's ultimately what won him the game. Steelers defense was very injured, so I'm surprised that they slowed down the Bucs offense that much. But I think that just they had efficient quarterback play in the second half. Mitch Trubisky took some chances with the football, and he ultimately completed lots of third downs, and that's what won him the game.
I don't think Mitch Trubisky is a baller, but I do agree with what you said about him for this game. Very disappointing by the Bucs. Tom Brady, what's going on, man? Like, where's the GOAT status that we've all been saying in your last ride this year? Super Bowl contenders. Now there's a couple question marks after losing to an injury-riddled Steelers team.
To defend Tom Brady a little bit, the dude has thrown 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, very low turnover-worthy play percentage, 1.1. That's the lowest in the league. We're just ahead of Bailey Zappi. But Tom Brady, 7th in PFF grade. I don't think this all goes on him, but yes, you expect him to get a little bit more out of his team than they have. But this team, I don't know how they're 3-3, really. Well, I guess you can say they played good teams in the Packers and Chiefs, who they lost to, but this loss I just did not see coming. But definitely disappointing for the Bucs. I think the Steelers, like I said, completely clutched their downs, controlled the ball in the second half, and Mitch Trubisky made more plays than Tom Brady, which is shocking to see. But moving on to a few more games left. Panthers-Rams, 24-10. This game was close. The Rams ultimately had a good fourth quarter at the end of the game and won. Not too much takeaways from this game. I guess you can say the Robbie Anderson takeaway, but he's not on the team anymore. He's on the Cardinals now. He got traded. Traded Monday. But anything you would add to this game? Because I think it's one of the least entertaining games of the week.
Yeah, Allen Robinson looked pretty good.
I guess they got that going for them. But on to the next game. Cardinals-Seahawks. Disappointing Cardinals. I did pick the Seahawks. I think you did too. Did you? But
I think so, yeah.
This was disappointing. 9 points on the Seahawks defense. Yeah. I know Cardinals fans are very upset with how their year is going, but
they don't look good.
But talk about Geno Smith. What a story! I did not think he was going to be the starting quarterback this year. I thought it was going to be Drew Lock. And wow, Geno Smith has played like a top 5 quarterback. Like seriously,
I think
outside of Mahomes, Herbert, Allen, or not Herbert. Well, Herbert's up there, but the big 3 I think are Mahomes, Allen, and then maybe Hurts. Geno Smith is 4th or 5th. I don't think that's crazy.
He's in the MVP talk.
He is second in PFF grade, 86.7. He's completing a crazy 73.4% of his passes.
And he's made some great throws.
Geno Smith has 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, made some big time throws. His team's 3-3. If they had a very good defense, they could be better than 3-3. But Geno Smith is definitely in the dark horse MVP talk right now. But
Yeah.
for him to actually win it, though, one, he'd have to keep this up and do some more than he's doing because you've got just crazy players in Mahomes and Allen. And the Seahawks would have to make the playoffs, probably win the division. So, crazy things would have to happen for Geno Smith to be your MVP,
but they have a chance.
That would be the craziest MVP season of all time.
Well,
most unexpected.
This kind of reminds me of the 2017 Minnesota Vikings with Case Keenum and Sam Bradford.
You can even go back to the 2017 Eagles with Nick Foles winning the
with
Super
Nick
Bowl
Foles.
MVP.
Yeah, I was just thinking Super Bowl MVP, but I was also thinking regular season backup quarterback who did really good. Oh, that's another thing. Kenneth Walker had his breakout game.
Yeah, speaking of Kenneth Walker, Graham, you need to trade me Kenneth Walker in our fantasy league. I was supposed to draft Kenneth Walker. I missed him, and you got him. You need to trade me him. Trade me Kenneth Walker or Miles Sanders or someone. Come on.
I'll see what I can make up here.
But anyway, on to the next game, Bills Chiefs. Very good game. It felt like it was 50-50 the whole game pretty much, and ultimately the Bills just executed on the late game drives and the Chiefs did not. Chiefs had 2 chances to score at the end after the Chris Jones play, the tripping play that people thought should have been called. The Bills had to punt to the Chiefs. They got stopped. Chiefs gave it back to the Bills. Bills went down, scored, then Chiefs got it back, and Mahomes threw the pick. So Chiefs had their chances at the end. They couldn't really do much at the end, and the Bills scored a late touchdown drive, clutch drive. So that's ultimately what won the Bills the game. But 2 good quarterbacks. I think Allen had the upper hand, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, over Mahomes. But this game was pretty good, and I think it pretty much lived up to expectation. Another funny thing is Tony Romo in the first quarter was like, yeah, this is going to be a 24-20ish type game, a little bit lower scoring than maybe anticipated. And I remember watching that live, and I was like, what if this game is 24-20? Then I saw it was 24-20, and I completely forgot about that. And then I saw it on social media that Tony Romo said that, and I was like, yeah, I remember he said that live. But that was funny. It ended 24-20.
What's crazy about these 2 teams is that this was probably just a little taste of what we're going to see in the playoffs this year at some point. We say this every year about these 2 these past 3 years.
I don't want to get too hot take-ish, but these are not going to be the AFC title teams, in my opinion. One of them will be, the other one will not, is what I'm predicting. There's another team that plays somewhere in the Midwest of the United States. They wear blue colors, and
that Graham might be visiting their city next week.
And they have an old quarterback who wears number 2, and they're a pretty good team, but yeah, they're going to be a dangerous team too. So
I can't believe you're still on that. So then we have the Sunday night game. Is that our next game on the list?
We have the Sunday night game, Cowboys Eagles.
Oh,
how did we used to do these recaps in 10 minutes? Cowboys Eagles. This game, it was kind of a little bit disappointing. I thought it was going to be a close game. I was actually on someone's stream during this game, so I thought it was going to be a close game, and it was just absolute blowout until the Cowboys scored some late touchdowns in third or fourth quarter and made it close. Then the Eagles capitalized with some interceptions. Really, it was the Eagles were getting good interceptions, good field position.
Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing from the Cowboys, but they're getting Dak back. But the Eagles definitely for real.
Yeah, I think the trade of the year so far has been C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Eagles from the Saints. He's fit in well. 2 interceptions last night, multiple pass breakups, and he's been doing really, really good.
It's Wednesday night. The game was played. It's Wednesday night. The game was played Sunday night, not last night. But
sorry, Wednesday night. Oh, it's been a long week.
But anyway, on to the next one. Broncos. I feel like every podcast you're like, oh, it's been a long day, long week.
It really has been. I'm so tired.
Broncos Chargers 16-19.
Stop putting the Broncos on freaking primetime games. No one wants to watch disappointment.
But Chargers, Broncos. I'm supposed to be saying all the scores. I don't know if I've been saying all of them, but whatever. I think I've said most of them. But anyway, Chargers, Broncos, overtime game. Broncos seemed like they were going to win this game. Russell Wilson started 10 for 10. I think it was 10-0 game in the first quarter or something like that.
Yeah.
Broncos just staled offensively. And then, so did you see the punt in overtime that the Chargers punted to the Broncos? The The Blanco ran into the returner.
his
Okay,
own
so
returner. Yeah,
is it by rule that that's not a penalty? Because the Blanco was blocking and getting pushed by the guy ahead of him into his own
that's
teammate.
not a. I don't think that's a
That's
penalty.
because I think the Sunday and Monday Night Football penalty dude, you know how like CBS is the Gene Steratore and then the
Fox is
Fox is
Mike Tirico.
Mike
Mike
Pereira,
Pereira. Mike Tirico is someone else.
and
So.
then they just all come on like the
When
rules
there's
expert
a
or something.
controversial, yeah.
And I think the dude said that since the Denver blocker initiated the contact on the block, if he gets pushed into his own teammate, since he initiated the contact, it's not a penalty.
It's
So,
not. Yeah, I don't think it was.
but anyway, that's what ultimately lost the Broncos the game. But shout out to Dustin Hopkins. Hopkins was playing hurt and hit some clutch kicks.
Yep.
So Chargers getting back on track in the win column. Well, they won a couple in a row now, but they're 4-2. So that's our recap. We can move on.
One more thing about the Broncos. So my stale.
Does Colter speak for all of us when he says stop putting the Bears
Yes,
and the Broncos?
that's exactly what I'm going to say.
Primetime? Okay, the Broncos have 3 more primetime games, I think, and the Bears have 1 more. So you only get to watch the Bears on primetime once more this year, and it'll be on.
We've
What's it
already
called?
watched the
It'll be on.
Broncos 3 weeks in a row.
It'll be on Monday night next week. Bears Patriots. Tune in. Should be a very good game. So that'll be the last time you'll see the Bears on primetime. Unless we make the playoffs, then you'll have to watch us then if you want to.
That won't happen.
Anyway,
the Broncos already being on primetime for 3 weeks in a row is terrible. Not to mention, what is going on? You know what? I'm taking the stale chip award from the Patriots and I'm giving it to the Broncos. It's so annoying. The fact that these 2 teams are the most stale teams to watch in football, and they're playing.
We should make a new
time.
segment, the stale tip of the week by Graham.
Yeah, I like that segment. It's a good segment. It's my special award.
Okay, we got 2 NFL statements. We're actually going to throw in a college football one at the end of this, but overreaction or not an overreaction statements. Buccaneers are not a Super Bowl contender. Overreaction, Graham, or not an overreaction?
Overreaction, because their quarterback is Tom Brady, and when your quarterback is Tom Brady, you always have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
I'm going to say overreaction that the Buccaneers are not a Super Bowl contender. I think this team is still right in the mix. You look at outside of Philadelphia, who else is there besides really the Bucks, Rams? Bucks, Rams, or I don't even know if the Rams are in that. Bucks, 49ers.
Vikings,
maybe.
Giants, maybe.
Absolute dark horse. Baylor. I'm kidding.
Seahawks.
Okay, now we're just naming anybody. But I think outside the Eagles, the Niners, Bucks are really the next 2 teams. So all they really have to do is, well, obviously it's more difficult than I'm making it sound, but the only team that's really better than them definitively is the Eagles. So they just have to beat the Eagles probably in Philadelphia, along with taking care of business versus other teams that maybe you expect them to beat or they have a very good chance to beat. And I'm not predicting the Bucks to win the Super Bowl in October. We're predicting them, well, not win, but make the Super Bowl, or be a contender to make it in January, February. So long way between those months. So I think they're going to pick it up. And I think once offense gets fully healthy, defense, once they play like good at the same time, this team will be very hard to beat. But on to the next one. The New York Jets will make the playoffs. Overreaction. The Jets are not making the playoffs. The reasoning why is the AFC is so competitive, and as much as I like this young defense and front seven, I don't trust the quarterback enough. As much as I do like Saleh too, I've been very high on him since he got hired. I don't think he's like a super amazing coach, so I don't think the quarterback and coach are good enough to win. Although I should take some of that back on Saleh because I do think he can become a very good coach. So I guess as he continues to improve, I already think he's a top 15 coach, but there's a gap between the top 2 coaches, which Saleh is not. So see if he gets there one day, but it really comes down to the quarterback play, and I don't think that's there.
I kind of disagree. I'm going to go not on. I think the Jets have a chance to make the playoffs, and I think they might. I think that the Dolphins.
Well, it's not can the Jets make the playoffs. It's Jets will make the playoffs. So would you say, let's try naming the teams to make your verdict. So Chiefs, we agree Chiefs, Bills, locks.
Yep.
Then there's an AFC South and an AFC North winner. So that's 4 teams. Then the other teams contenders, you got the Jets we named, the Dolphins,
I don't think the Dolphins are contenders since Tua's hurt and he's out indefinitely.
No, Tua's coming back Sunday night.
Is he coming back Sunday night? Is he coming back week 8?
Is that why you picked the Steelers? I'll change it if you want me to.
No. I'm going to keep it Steelers.
Okay, but Tua's playing this weekend.
I still think the Jets are a better team.
Wow.
I think Zach Wilson is going to actually break out.
Do you think only one AFC South team makes it?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I think the Titans could make it. I don't think they will, but I think they could if the Colts win the division.
I'm not a fan of the Titans.
But anyway, then outside in the AFC North, you only have the Bengals and Ravens, so I think both make it. So that leaves 2 spots open. So you're saying maybe Jets, Chargers both make it?
Jets, Chargers.
Don't count the Raiders out.
Don't count the Raiders out.
But anyway, so you're saying the Jets will probably be the 7th seed, what you're saying?
Yeah. They'll probably make a 9-8, 10-7.
We'll see. But anyway, on to the college football one. We just had to throw this in there. Tennessee Volunteers will win the Natty. They just came off a big win versus Alabama.
Overreaction.
Beating Alabama, you realize how difficult that is. Only a handful of teams do that, and the teams that do that usually win the Natty. So look, I'm looking at the Tennessee Volunteers. Hooker's playing amazing at quarterback. They have that very good receiver. Defense is the only thing that makes me question well, they actually have a few good receivers, but defense is the only thing that makes me question can this team win the Natty. But I think they're going to beat Georgia. I think they're going to maybe lose to Alabama the second time around in the SEC title game. I think they still make the playoffs, and then I think they can beat Bama and Ohio State in the playoffs. They showed they can beat Bama. I think they can beat them a second or third time around even. And Tennessee, Ohio State, that'd be a high offensive powered game. But the way Tennessee is playing, they play more difficult competition than Ohio State, which I think prepares them for big games. And if you could beat Bama, I think you'll beat Ohio State. So give me Tennessee Volunteers. I'm predicting October 19th, 2022, the Tennessee Volunteers are winning the college football national championship this year.
So I'm gonna go with overreaction. I still think that they're gonna either they're gonna beat Georgia in the regular season and then lose to Georgia in the playoffs. That's right. I said lose to Georgia in the playoffs. That doesn't sound right. I think this is a hot take. I think there will be 3 SEC teams in the playoffs. I called this earlier in the year in our college football playoff predictor. I had 2 out of the 3 teams. A&M did not turn out so well. But Tennessee, I think that there will be 3 teams in the SEC in the playoffs. I think Tennessee will be one of them, but I don't think they'll win the national championship. They'll play either Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State. And if they play Ohio State, I think they beat Ohio State. But whoever they play in the championship game, they'll probably lose.
Did you see the crazy scenario? People are like, what if those 4 11-1 SEC teams, like Ole Miss only loses to Bama, they go 11-1?
Yeah, I saw that.
Georgia loses to who? Tennessee, and then beats Bama.
And then beats.
So
yeah.
no.
Tennessee. It's Tennessee.
Tennessee beats Georgia.
Yeah.
Tennessee
beats it. It's Tennessee beats Georgia, loses to Alabama in the championship game.
No. It's Tennessee loses to Georgia, gets the 1 loss. Georgia loses to Alabama, who already has a loss, to get their first loss in the title game. So every team in the SEC, those 4 teams lose 1 game. They're not all getting in because Ohio State is still going undefeated.
Ohio State and
Clemson's probably
Clemson might go undefeated. Exactly.
I think it's going to be Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee making the playoffs.
I think Georgia's going to find their way in.
Okay. Well, anyway, so speaking of college football, where's our college football analyst? You know who you are. You're supposed to be on the pod sometimes. At our college football analyst, you know who you are if you are watching. You should be on the pod sometime. So, come on, what's going on? You're pulling a Graham. On to the next one.
Whoa.
No, Graham's attendance rating is like 90%. So
Graham's been
probably over 90%.
Yeah.
Graham barely misses. But anyway, on to the next subject we'll be talking about.
It should be my top 10.
Your top 10 teams. Yeah,
this will be quick. I'll get it done.
Kind of going over it.
We're just gonna.
We're going over our talking limit.
Let's just let me run through the 10 real quick, and then we just move on.
Okay. I'll share a few thoughts though.
Yeah. Just let me run through my 10, and then I'm also trying to double task and watch the Astros game in the corner. That's why I keep looking.
Who cares? They're gonna lose the Phillies anyway. So.
Whoa. Okay. All right. So starting at number 10, I've got the Tennessee Titans. Even though I was just saying I don't like the Titans that much, I put them above the Colts only because I like Derrick Henry. Chargers number 9. Makes me nervous. Justin Herbert did not impress me that well. He actually lost me this week in fantasy football. Jaden Ranson, congratulations, your kicker got you 9 points, and that's what beat me. I lost because of a kicker, and I still had my quarterback to play that night. So that's kind of how my week in fantasy went. Got number 8, I got the New York Jets, the Jets, Jets. They find their way to win. They beat some of the good teams in the NFL. I still think the Packers are pretty good. And the Jets somehow found a way to beat them with defense and a quiet but mistakenless second-year quarterback play. We got number 7. We got the Baltimore Ravens. I put the Ravens together with the Giants at 6 and 7 because those two teams pretty much were neck and neck the whole game. I think the Ravens had the upper hand most of the game, but sometimes defense wins you games, and the saying defense wins you championships. Kind of the same thing, but more dumbed down to the game part. And congratulations to the Giants. So you take the 6th spot, the Ravens take the 7th spot. Got number 5. I got a 3-3 team, but of the Cincinnati Bengals. The defense is starting to play a little bit better. Eli Apple is very disappointing, per usual. He's looking like burnt toast. But that offense is starting to click, and it's starting to happen. The big plays for T. Higgins, the big plays for Jamar Chase. Just this offense is clicking. I mean, Joe Mixon's been even a little bit quiet this year, and I'm sure he'll find a way to get up going throughout the year. Got number 4. I got the 4-2 Minnesota Vikings. Best team in the NFC North. They look really good. Defense looks pretty good. Patrick Peterson, that was a fun little interception, fun little dancing that they did. And Vikings pretty solid. Number 3, I got the Kansas City Chiefs, the losers against the Buffalo Bills. Now they're 4-2, but man, Patrick Mahomes, if he doesn't throw that one mistake, I think this was the week that we finally saw how much Patrick Mahomes misses Tyreek Hill. And I think, not having Tyreek Hill for that final drive of the game and the Bills taking Travis Kelce out of the equation kind of put Patrick Mahomes to be a little bit more risky, and he made a mistake. Number 2, got the the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles at the number 2 spot. They would be my number 1, but of course the number 1 is going to be the Josh Allen-led Bills, who won a really, really tough game in Kansas City, finally getting their revenge and back-to-back losses in Kansas City in the playoffs.
So I'm going to chime in a little bit. If you want to check out my full power rankings, I post them on the Twitter and Instagram last night.
We're pretty
my
similar.
Top 32. But I have a couple things. I think the Jets, little overhyping them right now, but not too. I don't think it's too off, but I do have them like 14 or so. Titans, I had at 12, not 10. I do think the Cowboys should be in the top 10. So I think you lose to the Eagles with a backup quarterback. You're 4-2. I think the Cowboys are better than the Titans, Jets, and maybe Chargers and Bengals right now. But Chargers at 9, I like that. Bengals 5, I think is a little high. They are 3-3, but I still have them top 10. Offense is starting to click. Defense didn't have the best outing last week, but overall playing pretty solid on the year. Ravens 7, about right. I think I have them 6. Giants, I think those should be at 4. Giants, Vikings, I think should be the 4 and 5 teams. The 5-1, they'll both playing pretty good ball. Giants beating very tough teams. Same with
Are the
Vikings.
Vikings 5-1?
Vikings are 5-1.
Oh, sorry, I said 4-2. Sorry.
But 5-1. Vikings, Giants 4 and 5. In my opinion, I'd have Giants at 4, Vikings at 5, but not too off for me. Chiefs, I think, are the clear-cut number 3 team. Bills, Eagles, debate it all you want. I think the Eagles should be 1, the 6-0, and I think both defenses are amazing, but I like the Eagles a little bit more than the Bills right now. Maybe that's controversial, but I just really like the pass rush of the Eagles. Bills pass rush is amazing too with Von Miller, but I think the Eagles got more guys in the interior than the Bills, and Micah Hyde is out for the Bills for the year. But I guess you can say the Bills have the better quarterback than the Eagles. I think the Eagles have the better run game than the Bills, though, so it's 50-50. I lean Eagles right now, and I think the record states that, and I had them ranked higher than the Bills preseason, so if they're undefeated, better than the Bills record-wise, I'm going to still stick to what I had before the year. So anyway, that is Graham's Top 10. On to a next segment, quick segment coming up, my MVP ladder. MVP ladder stayed pretty similar over the last week or two, but I did flip one thing around after we watched the Bills-Chiefs game. Here's my MVP ladder. So as you can see, I have Josh Allen 1. I had Mahomes the last 2 weeks at 1. Last week, it was Hoots 3, stayed the same, beat the Cowboys. I said Hoots and Parsons were neck to neck for 3. They played head-to-head. Both played pretty good, but I think Hoots did more for his team to get the win, so I'm going to put Jalen Hoots at 3 for MVP still. Patrick Mahomes was 1 last week. Allen was 2. They played head-to-head as well, and Mahomes didn't play as well as Allen did. Looking at the full season, Allen's a little bit better in most statistical categories, and Allen has a better record. So I'm going to have Allen as my MVP. Mahomes 2. Do you have anything to debate with me, or do you like my A list?
I think it was very smart of you to put Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen 1 and 2 on the list. I see what you did there. Winner of the game would be number 1. I would actually put Jalen Hurts above Patrick Mahomes right now, just because Patrick Mahomes threw that interception late in the game and Jalen Hurts looked really, really good. But that's just me. Overall, the top 3 are the same top 3 I would have. I think I'd have like a Lamar Jackson at a 4, and then Saquon at a 5.
I was about to say, how far is Saquon Barkley off the top 3?
He's 5. He's 5.
Saquon's amazing, but I don't think he's 5.
I think he's 5.
I guess we can debate Saquon later, but anyway, I put Parsons ahead of Saquon right now, but it's debatable. But anyway, we can move on to the last segment, the longest segment, our game picks. So
we have a lot different.
Yeah, we usually do these pods in about an hour, 41 minutes, so we'll be about an hour today, hopefully. But anyway, here's our picks. So we can start off Thursday Night Football. Graham, your Saints are playing the Cardinals. Your Saints are banged up. I think, who do you think starting at quarterback? I think it'll be Dalton, but we'll see.
I think it'll be Andy Dalton. I hope it's Andy Dalton.
Marshawn Lattimore's out. Michael Thomas is out. What other players are out? Let me check.
Jarvis Landry's out. Andreas Pete's out.
How are the Saints going to win this game? How are the Saints going to beat the Cardinals with D-Hop coming back with all these players out in Arizona?
Because I have that feeling.
You have that biased feeling.
I have the biased Saints who dat nation feeling inside of me. I have to be a homer, man.
Okay, to provide some actual analysis on the game, there's so many injuries for the Saints. D-Hop is coming back for the Cardinals. D-Hop versus maybe Paulson Adebo can be a mismatch for the Cardinals, who are without Marquise Brown.
Paulson Adebo is pretty good, man.
He's good, but D-Hop could be rusty first game back, maybe. But This game is in Arizona. Saints defense hasn't been as good as I thought it would be. So I think the Cardinals can bounce back offensively after a poor performance last week. Looking at the Saints offense, you're losing Michael Thomas. They've been short at receiver the last few weeks. Hasn't been too affecting them. So maybe you could argue that they could still win this game, which they very well could.
I think the Saints...
You're missing two of your top 3 receivers. You should have Olave back, so that'll help them. But overall, I think the quarterback play separates the Cardinals from the Saints, and the healthiness separates the Cardinals from the Saints, and the home field advantage. So give me the Cardinals to beat the Saints.
So I think personally that the wide receiving core for the Saints is actually a lot deeper than people give it credit. Marquez Callaway's pretty dang good. Traquan Smith finally actually looked like a pretty competent
deep,
receiver.
But you're losing 2 of your top 3 guys, and you're getting one back from injury.
And not to mention we have Taysom Hill. Like I said, I think this will be the Taysom Hill game, kind of like how it was a couple of weeks ago. I think Taysom Hill will break out this week. I think he'll have another really, really good game. I really hope we do more of like a play where he lines up in a tight end position and we give him screens, give the ball into his hand in many different ways. Line him back at running back, line him up at fullback, give him different looks to where it confuses the defense, or maybe they think maybe he's not going to Taysom Hill, because he is the most versatile weapon, no matter if it's on offense, defense, whichever team. He is usually the most versatile weapon.
Well, Graham has the train going in the background.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can get on to I forgot to talk about the picks or the records. I'm 53-40. You're 50-43. So
I made a comeback.
We're 3 games apart after my stinker week last week. I was 5-9, so that was
Graham had a good week.
Got my upset of the week though, Seahawks over Cardinals. I forget. Oh, your upset of the week was Giants over Ravens, so you nailed that one. You're at 2-4 now. But back to the games. Bengals, Falcons. Falcons are sneaky. Think about picking the Falcons, but ultimately, I think the Bengals' offense is starting to click, and I think that's what ultimately gives the Bengals the advantage, and I think their defense is better on paper than the Falcons, and I believe this game is in Cincinnati, so that makes me want to pick the Bengals.
Yep, completely agree. Let's move on.
On to the next one, offensive shootout, Dallas Cowboys versus the Detroit Lions. This game is going to be similar to the Seahawks-Lions game, in my opinion, scoring-wise. except Dallas' defense is a little bit better than Seattle, so I think Lions will probably get high 20s, low 30s. Cowboys probably high 30s. But Lions could could get an upset here. I think the game will be close, but ultimately what separates the teams, coaching, quarterback, defense, those late game situations, I think the Cowboys will execute better than the Lions. So give me the Cowboys to beat the Lions. This game is also in Dallas.
I've got Dak's returning game back to against the Lions. I have them taking an L. Quarterbacks returning off of injury never usually have a pretty good game. Cowboys really good. I just think the Lions offense is also really good, and I think they'll be able to withstand the really good defense from the Cowboys. Is DeAndre Swift coming back this week?
Let me check.
I'm trying to think. I think he is.
I don't think he is, but we'll see. Oh, he's actually pushing towards playing, is what he said. But we'll see.
Yeah,
how that comes
I
out.
think
he was limited. He was limited at practice today, so that's not a good look. But we'll see. But I don't think
if he plays, I think they'll
much
win.
Of a difference. But yeah.
Ooh,
on to the next one.
Both have the same upset.
Colts. Oh no, I forgot to look at your upset. You have a different upset. I forgot to change Graham's upset. We'll do that right now. No, the graphic. I don't know. Whoever's the graphic guy, I forgot to change Graham's upset. That might be me. But yeah, I am the graphic guy. But anyway,
it's probably that one.
Your upset is definitely going to be this game. We don't even have. Actually, no. Steelers are big underdogs. Let me see real quick. Pulling up the spreads. So the Steelers are 7-point underdogs. Commandos are 5-point underdogs. So your upset is the Steelers.
Well, that's a much easier upset than the Packers.
Don't know why you picked the Commandos to beat the Packers. Maybe
don't know. Just had a feeling.
Big Taylor Heineke fan.
Yeah, I am a Heineke fan.
Heineke.
Heineke. I say it weird.
But anyway, on to the Colts Titans game. We both have the Colts beating the Titans. This game is in Tennessee, so almost leaning towards picking the Titans, but I have to have at least one upset, and I like the Colts getting healthy. Jonathan Taylor should play, but not 100% certain on that. Actually, going to check that out right now. But do you want to talk about this game?
Yeah, I will. Oh, nice strikeout, Justin Verlander. So Matt Ryan finally kind of seemed more comfortable in the offense, and I think this week they'll continue. Yes, I have the Titans in my top 10 teams. I only put them on there because they looked a little bit more impressive than the Colts did this past week. Even though Matt Ryan threw for a bunch of yards, I think the Titans just looked a little bit more poised. But I'm going to go ahead and say that the Titans will lose this game, and I think the Colts will take over the division of the AFC South, and the Colts will finally, hopefully, get the train going.
So Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines both will full go in practice today.
Awesome.
So it looks like Taylor will probably play. Don't know quite the update on Shaq Leonard, but that could definitely impact this game. But I think that this Cardinals or this Colts team is going to be able to throw the ball on the Titans. Titans corners, Christian Fulton hasn't looked as good as last year so far. And I think I have a hot take. We know Michael Pittman has already proven he's a number one receiver. I personally feel Alec Pierce is already a number one receiver in the league. I think he's really that good. And so I like this Colts receiving duo, really. And they got some solid tight end play with Mo Ali Cox and Jelani Woods, the rookie, both playing pretty solid at tight end. So if they can just get something out of the number 3 receiver, whether it's Doolin, Campbell, this can be a lethal passing offense. But O-line has to start to pick it up. You get Jay Taylor back. Gilmore's playing good at corner. Still got Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner, Yannick Ngakoue, like the coaching team. So I think this team's going to start to pick it up and become the contender that I feel that they are. And but we can move on to the next game. Washington Packers. I thought we wouldn't have to talk much about this game, but looks like we do because you have the Commandos winning, which I would want because, listen, the Bears have 785 wins all time. The Packers recently tied them with 785 wins of all time. Bears are the oldest Bears and Cardinals are the oldest franchises. Packers not long after them. The Bears haven't not been in first place in wins since 1921. Over 100 years, the Bears have been the winningest team in the NFL. The Bears play Monday night. The Packers play Sunday. We survived last week, the Packers getting upset to the Jets to still be tied. Now the Packers play Sunday, and we play Monday. So we need Washington to beat the Packers to not give up all-time wins. That'll probably be broken any day now. But, yeah, so Go Commandos, but Packers are winning this game in my opinion. Washington, like I said with the Jets last week, if that pass rush can get going, that could be the Packers' kryptonite. But I don't see Washington's pass rush being as good as the Jets, and Washington's offense is not going to be too good in my opinion. Washington's offense will not be too good in my opinion with Heineke quarterback, but we'll see.
I have the Washington Commandos winning this game.
Even though I don't on the Commandos.
I don't for this team, but I think Taylor Heineke will have one of those weird like backup star games, and he'll play really good. Yeah, like sometimes like these backup.
Heineke's gonna do what he did in the playoffs.
Exactly, he's gonna have a backup star game. He's gonna like look really good, and then people are like, wait, maybe there's a quarterback controversy. It's kind of like Cooper Rush.
This is the year of quarterback controversies.
Really? Oh my gosh, Julie Gurriel just hit a home run. Oh my gosh, Julie Gurriel just hit a home run. Whoa.
On to the next game. Buccaneers versus Panthers. Panthers onto the interim head coach. The Buccaneers have to bounce back. Losing to the Steelers last week. Come on now. Bucs are going to bounce back, beat the Panthers. Anything you want to say about this game?
Nope. I think this is Tom Brady's playground, and he's going to have fun.
On to the next one. Jags, Giants. Very good game. I feel like the Jags are going to win this game. Not confident. The Jags are actually favored to win this game last time I checked the spread. And it was like a 3-point spread or something. This game is in Jacksonville. I think the strength of the Jaguars team overall is the run defense. And not that they're going to shut down Saquon, but I feel like that they could do better than most teams have versus Saquon. And I feel that, come on, the Giants secondary can't perform this good all year. Trevor Lawrence, company, Christian Kirk can maybe get something going. I like Doug Peterson in Jacksonville. Jags have to bounce back, get to 3-4. Giants seem like this is the time to lose, coming off big wins. Young team. You expect them to lose at some point, but they're scrappy, and maybe they can pull out another close win. I don't know, but I'm picking the Jags.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the New York Giants. I just think even though the Jaguars' defense strength is the run defense, we also have to remember Saquon Barkley can catch the pass. He can go run the routes, he can run the screenplays, and that's a big part of his game. I think he's going to show out. I think he's going to have another.
And if you missed it, my upset of the week was the Colts over Titans. Titans are currently favored at home versus the Colts. But as you can see, I went chicken this week. I have like no upsets besides that one.
And Graham went full of upsets.
On to the next one. Ravens-Browns shouldn't really be even close. I think Ravens win this by a lot. Move on, unless you're not.
All right, let's move on. Nope.
Buccaneers, I'm off today. Broncos versus Jets. Game can go back and forth. Really, this 50-51 for me. Game is in Denver. I think both pass rushers will do some damage in this game. Both defenses overall. As much as maybe it seems odd to say with how he's been playing, I trust Russell Wilson more than Zach Wilson in the battle of the Wilsons. I just realized that. I think the Jets are well coached. Maybe the Broncos not so much. But I think that both defenses are going to play well. Defensive battle like most Broncos games have been. And I ultimately trust Wilson, the Russell Wilson, to make less mistakes than the Zach Wilson and ultimately get the Broncos a home win. What do you have to say about this game?
I think the Broncos are going to keep the stale chip award for another week. And I think the Jets are going to go in there and take care of business.
We need to get the graphics guy working on the stale trip graphic.
Yeah.
On to the next one. Raiders-Texans blowout. Actually, it's not going to be a blowout. Both teams coming off a bye.
It'll be competitive.
Texans are competitive, but I feel like the Raiders have too much.
They got to win. God,
they have to win. Like,
they have to win.
You have to win.
You have to win this game.
I think this game is in Vegas too, so
it is in Vegas, I believe.
Texans. On to Chargers-Seahawks. One I actually have to think about because the way the Seahawks have been playing. Ultimately, what it comes down to is I think the Chargers can pass the ball in that Seahawks secondary. And even though I do like Kenneth Walker a lot, and the Chargers' run defense hasn't been too good, I don't think this is just the game where he's going to go off.
Back to back Jacks. Sorry to interrupt. Astros are winning 3-1.
Okay. Mainly because I think the Chargers are going to be able to pass the ball so well that the Seahawks aren't going to be able to utilize the Kenneth Walker run game because they're going to be playing from behind. But if the Seahawks can get out to an early lead, they could win this game. But on to Graham, if he has anything to say.
So, I actually almost put the Seahawks.
Do you even know what game we're on?
Yeah, we're on the Chargers Seahawks. I know what we're listening. I'm listening. I'm multitasking. Okay, the Astros are very important, and we just had back-to-back home runs. Sorry, but talking about the Seahawks now.
Oh, you're playing the Yankees, right?
Yep. We are. It's
The
a good
battle
game.
who gets lose to the Phillies.
Okay, but talking about the football, I'm gonna go ahead and say, whoa. I think the Seahawks are just they're competitive. They're pretty good, but what are you doing, Nick? I just think this is gonna kind of be like how the Seahawks when they played against the New Orleans Saints a couple weeks ago, where like it's just an offensive shootout and it's just which defense can hold them to one possession. I trust the Chargers defense more than the Seahawks defense.
So on to the next game. Chiefs, Niners. Niners are too banged up to win this game. Well, else I would strongly consider and probably pick them to beat the Chiefs.
Yep.
Just because I really like their game plan, their matchups. But the Niners are just so banged up. It's hard to see them winning this game. So I got the Chiefs beating the Niners. On to the next one. I didn't say anything.
No.
If
I
the
agree.
Niners were healthy, this would be game of the week. It'd still
It
probably
would
be
be.
somewhat close, but the Niners are just so banged up. It's hard to see them winning. Like, when did the Niners even get banged up? I didn't even know they were that banged up until, like, last
They've
week.
been slowly trickling the injuries. Ever since Trey Lance got hurt, it's been trickling.
On to Sunday Night Football. I'm sure everyone is just going to be waiting all day for this game.
God,
Dolphins, Steelers.
What a stinker.
Trubisky, please be playing. I don't know if he's going to be the starter, but as a Trubisky stan, I want to see the baller out there dicing up the Dolphins defense. Trubisky can maybe get his 2018 revenge from when he played the Dolphins in 2018 and they lost in overtime. I think Trubisky was the quarterback that game.
So, fun fact about my pick. My pick is only if Pickett plays. If Pickett plays, then the Steelers win. If Trubisky plays, they lose.
All right, well, someone's going to comment that in the comment section before the game. If Graham changes his pick, we'll comment in the comment section that Graham has changed his pick. But so reminder, if Graham changes his pick, his upset of the week goes from that game, from the Steelers Dolphins to the Commanders Packers. But right now, Graham has the Steelers upsetting the Dolphins as his upset of the week. But anyway, I think the Dolphins are going to get something going here offensively with Tua back. I think the Steelers are banged up in the secondary, and the Dolphins' passing game is going to be too much for the Steelers. But you never know when you're playing the Mitchell Trubisky. But on to the next game. Bears-Patriots. All offseason, I have picked the Bears to upset the Patriots, but I am changing my pick to the Patriots, mainly because the Patriots' defense, like, first I was thinking, okay, if Mac Jones plays, I'll pick the Patriots to beat the Bears. If Bailey Zappi plays, I'll pick the Patriots to lose to the Bears. But the offense has looked amazing with Bailey Zappi, and I don't think it matters who plays quarterback for the Patriots between Zappi and Mac Jones. It's honestly a quarterback controversy at this point with the way Zappi has looked in that offense and them to just win games. Although I still lean with Mac Jones. Do you lean Zappi over Jones?
I leave Zappi over Jones.
I lean Jones over Zappi still, but whoever plays this game, I think they'll beat the Bears.
Yep.
I'm gonna talk about this game a little bit more though. Can I finish talking about it or do you add something real quick?
Oh yeah. You talk about your team.
Okay. The Bears, honestly, I just don't see us doing much on offense. I think the Patriots defense has surprised me, which ultimately is making me pick the Patriots because the defense has surprised me. And the Bears' run defense has disappointed me. Therefore, I think Ramondre Stevenson and that Patriots offensive line is going to do too much on the ground versus the Bears' run defense, who has been one of the worst units in football. Although the Bears do have a sneaky good secondary, I don't think it'll be enough to get them this win just because the Patriots, from the Bears standpoint, if you can't stop the run, probably not going to win this game, and I don't think they'll stop the run well. I think the Patriots are way better coached than the Bears, and I think Fields isn't playing the best ball that he can play right now. So hopefully he can pick it up in this game and provide an upset, but I don't see the Bears doing much on offense, and I think the time of possession will be lopsided with the Patriots' run game, and this game is in Foxborough. So give me the path to beat the Bears. What do you want to say, Graham?
The day that Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney finally connects it finally develops their chemistry and we see it on the field they're not going to win it till then. And I don't think it'll be this week. I like Bailey Zappi. If Bailey Zappi's playing, I think the Patriots will win. I still think the Patriots will win if they have Mac Jones at quarterback, But I think Bailey Zappi actually fits the Patriots scheme a little bit more better because you have the speedster guys like Nelson Aguilar who can get down the field, and Bailey Zappi can actually give them the ball down the field compared to someone like Mac Jones who doesn't have the deep arm threat that Bailey Zappi does. But yeah,
on to the bye week. We literally hit an hour right as you finished talking, but onto the bye week teams. You see the bye week teams. What team? What team? What? So who's the bye week of the week winner? Who wins the bye week?
I guess I'm gonna have Bills because it gives them a chance to rest after a really hard fought game. These four teams.
The Rams win the bye week. These teams are good teams on the bye week. I think the Rams win the bye week just because they need it. They're 3-3. They win the bye week. You need a bye right now. You're 3-3. You haven't played as good as someone thought you would before the year. So time to regroup, pick it up.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the podcast. Hope you enjoyed. We may or may not be adding another segment, Graham's stale chip of the week. But anyway, Graham, enjoy the battle of who gets to lose to the Phillies in the World Series.
I will try.
I enjoyed the battle Sunday between Bills Chiefs of who get to lose to the Colts, the mystery team we were talking about earlier in the pod, in the AFC title game.
Not gonna happen.
So anyway, that's the pod. Hope you guys enjoyed, and
we'll
see you next week.
One last thing.
Oh no, we'll see you in 2 weeks because Graham and me both have our bye weeks next week.
We have a bye week.
We're on a bye week.
And Dan